This is how you find all 4 detectors in Stalker 2 and how they all work. There's not actually a definitive best detector in the game. I tested all of them and discovered that most of them have different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to finding artifacts hidden in the zone. People say the Veles Detector is one of the best, but yet the Hilka has triple the detection range. Each one really does have its own strengths and weaknesses though, and some of them can be found earlier than others. So in this guide, I'll show you where to get every detector in Stalker 2, so you can grab them as you're just playing through the game naturally, and also we'll go over how they work. So leave a like if it's helpful. Firstly, we have the Echo Detector. I won't bother showing you how to get this one, since you'll get it naturally by just following the main quest right at the start of the game, but you will end up using the Echo Detector as you travel through the lesser zone. It's only when you leave the lesser zone that you can actually find other detectors to replace it with. The Echo Detector is the worst artifact detector in the game, but it is the lightest at 0.4 kilograms. It has a pretty short range on the artifact detection radius, and when you're nearby an artifact, it will start to beep and a blue flashing light will appear. Then as you get closer, that blue flashing light will get more intense with a more rapid beeping sound. Searching for artifacts with this thing honestly gives me a headache. And since it only flashes faster as you get closer, you'll often end up walking around in circles with no idea exactly where the artifact is until you accidentally walk into it. So really, you want to replace this as soon as possible. Which brings me on to the next artifact detector. The Hilka Detector in Stalker 2 has the longest artifact detection range in the entire game, thanks to its huge antenna, which folds out the top of the device, but it also makes it slightly heavier at 0.6 kilograms. Now the artifact detection range is almost over triple the range of any other detector in Stalker 2. You can actually see a comparison I did here on the map. This is how far away I could detect the artifact versus all of the other detectors, which had a very similar range to one another. So when you get anywhere near an artifact, the Hilka Detector will display a number between 99 and 1 on its reader. The bigger the number, the further you are away from the artifact. So obviously finding artifacts with the Hilka is just a question of walking back and forth while checking the number to see if it's getting smaller. And then you know if you're getting closer or further away. But once you get close, you still do find yourself wandering back and forth trying to find the exact location of the artifact because you still don't know what direction it is. So I would say that the Hilka Detector is the best detector in the game for detecting any artifacts nearby. But once you get to a range of 50, you can then swap to any other detector for a specific pinpoint accuracy. Now there are a couple of ways to get the Hilka Detector, but the earliest one is in the garbage zone. Right after you leave the lesser zone, you're just going to head north, and right at the center you're going to find the scrap heap base just here on the map. And once you actually get to this location, there's a big concrete structure, and inside you're going to come to a bar, and just on the right hand side you'll find 2 drunk guys talking between themselves. If you talk to them, you can start their side quest. This side quest is called Budmo, and this will mark 3 different Stalker stashes on your map. And the one to the southwest near this T-junction just over here on the map, you're going to want to go to that location, and there's going to be a big pylon. Up that pylon you can just sort of climb the tree, and in this bird nest here you'll find the Stalker stash. That's going to have a Hilka Detector inside it. Now stealing it from the stash will result in a bad ending for this quest, but honestly if you just go and steal everything from these 3 stashes, it actually gives you a much better quest reward, worth way more coupons than they pay you if you finish it normally. I already did a full breakdown guide on every quest reward you can get from this quest, and I'll link it down below in the description if you're interested. But if you miss it, you can still buy it later on in Rostock from one of the shop merchants there. You can also reset any of the shop merchants in Stalker 2 by just sleeping twice in a bed so it's the next day. But now let's talk about the next best detector to use. Because overall, the Bear Detector is the best early game detector in Stalker 2 that you can actually get very early on. Here's why it's so good and how to get it for yourself. So unlike the other detectors, it uses a 360-degree radar display if there are any artifacts nearby and the exact direction they're actually located. As you get closer, the beeps are going to become more frequent, and the radar indicator will widen as well. This makes it really easy to find nearby artifacts because you actually know which way you should be facing to see them, compared to the other two detectors which just say, oh, you're nearby an artifact, but you have no idea where it is. However, the bear detector does have a smaller range than the Hilka detector, and it weighs 0.9 kilograms, making it one of the heavier detectors. But the utility it gives you is definitely worth the trade-off in my opinion. But again, like I said earlier, using this in combination with the Hilka detector is the best method to find artifacts. But the best part about it is you can get the bear detector early, right at the start of Stalker 2, once you're done in the lesser zone. Just head north through the garbage zone and then right into the cement factory zone just here on the map. And it's right here in the center that you're going to find the concrete forest location. And at the top right of this location, you're going to find an NPC who's going to give you a side quest called Uninvited Guests. He'll send you down a tunnel underground, and if you go down the ladder here, once you're at the bottom, just go through this door, take a right, head all the way down the sewer tunnel, then at the end of the corridor, just go left and into the next room, and you'll be on this raised iron mezzanine. Below, there'll actually be two controls that you should completely ignore because they're not even worth bothering trying to kill, especially early on in the game. But you'll want to drop down and run diagonally across the room, and the bear detector is hidden in a duffel bag under this wooden spool here. So just go ahead and loot it. Now there are also some other really good weapons and armor blueprints down here, so if you want a full guide, again there is another one linked down below in the description that shows you where to get one of the best early game armor sets too. Alternatively though, if you missed it, you can actually buy the bear detector in the northwest of the cement factory zone at the base just here. There's a merchant here who will sell it to you, and if he's not there, just sleep twice to reset his inventory. There's some merchants that won't stock things until you're a bit further on in the main story questline, so do bear that in mind. But next we have the fourth and final best detector in Stalker 2. So many players consider the Veles Detector to be the best in Stalker 2, and this is what it does and how to get it for yourself. So the Veles Detector uses a radar to directly pinpoint the location of any nearby artifacts, and they appear as a red dot on the display. But the best part is that it also displays nearby anomalies, so you can easily avoid them by paying close attention to the detector's HUD. Because some anomalies are pretty invisible until you step on them, whereas this clearly highlights all of them. Unfortunately though, the detector only reveals what's directly in front of you. So if you're facing the wrong way, you won't be able to detect any nearby artifacts, unlike the bear detector, for example, that has a 360-degree detection radius. It also has less than half the detection range of the Hilka, and it also weighs 0.9 kilograms. Pretty damn heavy. But overall, the utility the Velas offers in navigating and surviving nearby anomalies when you're artifact hunting is unmatched. In fact, even when you're not artifact hunting, this detector's ability to highlight nearby anomalies makes it much easier to avoid them. And that really aids my survival in the zone a lot more than having a weapon ready. And as I said before, using the Hilka detector to initially detect artifacts until you reach a range of 50 meters and then swapping to the Veles detector is going to be the optimal method for discovering artifacts in Stalker 2. The only problem is that this detector is gatekept by progressing the main storyline until quite late on in the game. You can only unlock it after completing the main mission in search of past glory. It's actually quite close to the end of the game. But you can also buy another one for sale in the Red Forest from the pile driver merchant just here on the map, but only after you've done that quest. But now you've got some of the best detectors in Stalker 2, you should really start hunting legendary artifacts. And I'm going to be going over some of the best and most hidden puzzles you can solve in this next video just here. They're scattered all over the game and they have very difficult puzzles and challenges attached to them, but they're a lot of fun. So I'll see you in the next video.